Iran and the U.S. both claiming control over the Strait of Hormuz as Tehran warns against miscalculation.
And as the U.S. Navy maintains its blockade of Iranian ports, CENTCOM is addressing what they're calling false reports about conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Jonathan Hunt is live from Tel Aviv. Jonathan.
Good morning to you guys. There has been some concern expressed about conditions on board the USS Lincoln by family members of those on board and some lawmakers. But Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said just yesterday that everyone on board, every ship in the Gulf is getting everything they need. And CENTCOM followed that up by saying some of the reporting about conditions on the Lincoln is flat out false, adding, quote, "The sailors and Marines of the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group remain resilient and resolved after more than 260 days at sea, 10,000 aircraft flights, and £1.5 million of ordnance expended." In the meantime, the war of words over who controls the Strait of Hormuz goes on. Iran says it is in control and that no ship should attempt to transit the strait without first clearing it with what it calls Iran's powerful armed forces. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright hit back against that, saying, as President Trump has done, that the U.S. is very much in control. Here's the Secretary.
We know every day exactly how many ships transit the Strait of Hormuz in and out. We know if they're going the southern route, the U.S. route through Omani waters. We know exactly what they're carrying. We're about 8 to 9 million barrels a day going through the strait every day.
And Vice President Vance says with the U.S. patrolling the Strait of Hormuz on the water, of course, but also from the skies, the U.S. will absolutely emerge the winner in all this. Here's the Vice President.
My warning to my fellow Republicans, Will, would be if we don't get this right, don't blame young people for being sympathetic to socialism. We've got to blame ourselves. Rebuilding our industrial base, rebuilding the heartland, making our streets safer, making it possible for young people to afford to buy a home. This is how you stop socialism. You don't stop socialism by throwing slogans at people about the free market. As much as I love the free market, you stop socialism by making people's lives better.
Obviously, that was not the Vice President talking about Iran. That was the Vice President talking about domestic politics. What he said about Iran was that the U.S. will ultimately prevent Iran from ever getting a nuclear weapon and will bring the price of oil down ultimately for every American by fully reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Back to you guys.
All right, Jonathan.